I've seen a lot of comments about this, and it seems like a lot of people have lost hope and faith, and that typically happens right before things begin to take off in a big way. And we've had pretty consistent projections about where ADA will head in this market cycle. I still believe somewhere in that $7 to $15 range, but I found a post that was talking about ADA actually hitting $8 by August. And I want to talk about whether this is still possible, if we should in fact be worried. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So this was actually a post by Crispy Craps. Great post. He said Cardano was going to make a few wise, rich, and many doubters regret. I almost read that wrong. And what he was talking about was actually ADA getting to $8 by August. And if you guys remember, we talked very consistently about the market top for ADA and the crypto market in general being sometime around October. And now there are actually even discussions about us potentially taking longer to get there. And why this has been a discussion is, we've seen a lot of delays in terms of retail adoption. Like I talked about earlier today, we've seen some delays in terms of progress across the crypto market because of some of the negative events that have been taking place. I mean, there's been a lot of things that have kind of slowed down this cycle. And we're probably going to see one of two things. And it's not the cycle just falling into a bear market right now. We're either going to see us follow the traditional life cycle and us see just this massive boom at some point in time where you just get all this just adoption and wave all hitting at once, which would suck because it would likely mean we have pretty big retracements off of that. We'll probably have a traditional bear market cycle in terms of retracement. Not sure about time. That's a different question for a different video. Or we may in fact see this thing extend out and actually enter the early part of 2026. I'm not entirely sold on that yet, but the longer these delays are taking to happen, the more likely it is this will be an extended cycle. The traditional cycles will in fact be over, and then we might be starting to talk about a crypto super cycle. But what I want to talk about is a lot of people, when we see these extended periods of drop, think that all-time highs aren't coming. They think that these big booms across the crypto space just frankly aren't going to happen. But what you need to understand is that there's all this pressure building across the crypto market. We've talked about this before, because again, what you're seeing is a lot of accumulation and removal of supply in terms of ADA and other assets throughout the space. There is very thin liquidity above here. There is very little of assets to go around. And it's a question of who is going to be dumping and who is planning long-term. I will say that we have some of our biggest crypto growth cycles ahead of us. This is one. We should be hitting again somewhere between 10 to $12 trillion in terms of the overall market cap of crypto. By the end of this next cycle, they're talking between 30 to $100 trillion. It's a pretty big gap. It just depends on what steps forward the industry makes as a whole. But no, right now, this $7 to $15 ADA, this $8 ADA is not unrealistic. I think people forget how fast things move in times of excitement. All right. For example, in just a month's time, we saw ADA do a 300% move. A 300% move right now would take us to about a new all-time high. All right. That can happen in 1 month. Think about that. And what have we seen during this time? We've seen more interest in ADA than ever. We've seen institutional accumulation start to take place. We've seen spot ETF product launches. We have Bitcoin OS unveiling, I believe today coming. We've seen Cardano take major advancements. We've seen it talked about in terms of the crypto strategic reserve. We've seen more enterprise and government interest surrounding ADA. I mean, there have been so many steps forward in just these past 6-7 months. And unfortunately, people, all they look at is price. They miss the things that can take us to the next price levels, the new zip codes, as we call them, right? And I think people forget that ADA as a whole is following the exact same structure it has historically speaking, right? When we look back here, look at 1, 2, third tap, breakthrough. 1, 2, we have not had our third tap in our breakthrough yet, okay? So that's where this is just pushed back slightly. What I will say as well is we have not had this major altcoin emergence yet. Like I talked about in my video that I think came just before this, we have not seen this big surge in retail adoption. So right now, I would actually argue that ADA is doing better than it has in cycles past because we haven't had this big retail emergence. We're still waiting for this big inverse head and shoulders to play out in terms of ADA dominance, ADA BTC, right? And I didn't mean to go through all these different charts, but we're following the same thing historically speaking on the ADA BTC chart, waiting for that third test, right? This is not a new thing. And people keep acting like it is. It's really not. This is very similar and comfortable with what we've done historically speaking. And the problem is people tend to lose sight. They forget to zoom out. They don't look at all these things. All they look at is just, oh, here's the daily chart in terms of ADA. We dropped 2%. All hope is lost. We're going to go down. Okay. I've been here since, well, I've been talking about ADA and Cardano since back in 2022. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen the progress, I've seen ADA gain strength in the industry, and people just continue to forget all these steps forward that have been made that have frankly set up ADA for one of its best cycles, historically speaking. Granted, we've only had one full cycle ever, but hopefully people are picking up the point or getting the point. There are so many things that can basically take Cardano and ADA to the next level, and it's just a question of when will it happen? When will it happen? When will it happen? All right. So I think that by the end of this market cycle, we're going to be in a very different spot from an on-chain usage standpoint. We're going to be a very different spot from a partnership standpoint. And ADA, I think, will be in a very different spot from a price standpoint. Just, the fact that we have this quote unquote cult-like mentality alone is enough to carry to ADA to higher prices. Because like I've talked about, it's one of the most convicted assets in all of crypto. It's one of the longest hold times, one of the longest average hold times in all of crypto. Those are things that help you out long-term. And although there may be times where things are boring and they look grim, they're not. ADA is about as close to booming as we can see. So we just got to wait and let things take off when they do. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.